I made an Instagram story recently where I jokingly had my pedals basking in the sun on my windowsill. The comments comparing my pedals to plants inspired me to look into some light-based effects. Now this concept isn't new. There are many guitar pedals that exist that incorporate light into how they function, and I've made some as well. What I want to do with this video is show you an easy way to make an expression pedal that uses light that you can use to control your effects with theremin-like gestures. So as a quick disclaimer, not every expression pedal works with every pedal. Some pedals have different requirements. Some expression pedals are built differently or specific to that pedal. So don't expect this to work with every single expression pedal you've got. I've tried it on a bunch of mine, and the results were 50-50. I would say go for it. It's not a very expensive project. It's fun and you might learn something. Here's what you need. The enclosure. I found this little wooden box at a thrift store. You may prefer to use a metal enclosure. It doesn't really matter though because it's a passive circuit and you won't be stepping on it anyways. Next, you'll need some solder, 1/4" input, wire, and a photoresistor. The two other things you're going to need for this project are a drill and a soldering iron. For both of those, you're going to want to make sure that you're working in a well-ventilated room, tie your hair back, don't wear any loose clothing, make sure you're wearing proper eye protection. In the description, I linked some videos that help teach me how to drill and solder, so be sure to check those out. Now let's talk light. A photoresistor, also known as light-dependent resistor, has the same function as a resistor. However, its resistance is determined by how much light is hitting the photocell at the top. To see how this photoresistor can act like an expression pedal, let's talk about how your average expression pedal works. So the motion of this expression pedal turns one of these. This is a potentiometer, which would control the parameters on almost any guitar pedal that you own. And it does so by varying the resistance between these three lugs as you turn the shaft. Now, potentiometers are set up in pedals in various different ways, but in this expression pedal, it is set up as a variable resistor, which means that changing the state of the potentiometer varies the resistance between two of these lugs. Now, what we're doing is we're getting that exact same effect with the photoresistor, because remember, light changes the resistance. The first thing you want to do is prepare the enclosure. Our enclosure will only need 2 holes, one to hold the photoresistor and one for the 1/4" input. You can also add some sort of plastic bezel to keep the photoresistor in place and ensure that the 2 metal leads don't touch and bypass the photocell. As you can see, it drops nice and easy over the hole, although I will be using some hot glue to keep it in place. Next, we're going to solder some wires to the photoresistor leads. Depending on how you build your enclosure, the wires may not be necessary. With proper planning, you can certainly solder the photoresistors directly to the input jack, but I like to give myself some room to work. And if you're sloppy at soldering like I am, it should look a bit like this. Next, we need to talk about this guy. The 1/4" input. This is the sort of input you'll find on any guitar or guitar pedal or amplifier you have in your home. The jack has metal lugs that connect to contact points which touch specific parts of the guitar cable. The tip carries the positive signal while the base of the cable or sleeve carries the negative grounded signal. This is the fundamental element that carries your signal between all of your pieces of gear. The input I'm using today is a cheaper plastic version with a different looking layout that works the exact same. Now we solder the leads of the photoresistor to the lugs on the input jack. Because the photoresistor is non-polarized, you can attach either end of it to either lug and it will still work fine. Here's a final look at the internals. You can see I used a bit of hot glue to keep the photoresistor stable. The input I'm using is a stereo input, which has a 3rd lug that we aren't using and don't have to worry about. Once you fasten the input to your enclosure, you're ready to start playing. Now the first test sounds good, but the sun's coming down and I think we can do better. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I typically only make shorts on my channel, but I decided that I wanted to try something a bit more long form. Let me know if you liked it. I didn't really have a plan with this one. I kind of just thought of the idea and started shooting and then saw what came out. So I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time.